The first thing we need to do is have our procurement management plan. It's going to have all the details nailed down. How we're going to complete the procurements, how we're going to integrate it with the other work, who has approvals, all that stuff as we lay there. Contract types that we could use. Where did the funding come from and the availability? Roles and responsibilities. Who can sign? Who can negotiate? Who can handle the legal issues? All that stuff. What are the timing requirements? How do we go through this process? What kind of metrics are we going to use? And then we also might have these things called pre-qualified sellers. If you've ever worked with a big company or worked at a big company, we have sellers that have already been vetted, they've been brought in, certified, all those things by the company, pre-qualified. So all these things are nailed down at the beginning. Here's how we're going to do this. Regimented, we said. Things you got to remember. In PMP questions, you're always the buyer. You're always getting the services. You can't negotiate as the project manager. You can't sign any legal agreements by yourself. No. Go to the procurement department. In the questions, it'll say, establish an agreement with somebody else. You know right off the bat, that's not an acceptable answer because you can't just go signing that name, right? So that's not an acceptable answer. You must leverage procurement and legal. Smart first two steps, answering the key questions. What should we procure? We have all this work. Are we getting all of it done outside? Are we doing a little bit? And that's done by a make-buy decision. We're looking at it. Does it make more sense if we do it or they do it? Financially, risk-wise, time-wise, whatever it is, we're going to have a make-buy decision. We're doing all this stuff. We need to go outside with these other things. And then the second question is, how should we procure it? What's our strategy, our approach for doing it? That's situationally based. We're going to define a contract type. Like if we just got to get 50 workers to help us out, like we got time and materials, we'll pick a certain contract. If we've got to have them manufacture something, probably a different types of contract. And then preparing ourselves, we got to do a little bit of upfront work inside before we go out there and go, I basically know what I want. No, got to be disciplined. We know we want to get these things done on the outside. Make some bid documents. What are we going to go out there and have them evaluate? We got to be very detailed. So to solicit bids, bring them in. We got to define the strategy and we got to define the statement of work. What are they bidding on? And have it in define out the desired form of response. What do we want to know from them? What's the form of response, etc. And like these documents, these are common documents. We can have an RFI, a request for information. These are all levels of requirements that we want, right? So request for information, also called an RFI, the top one down there. It says, we want descriptive information on goods and services from a seller. We're not ready to sign the deal yet. We're just looking for information. So we could send that out there and people could give us the information that we need. Cool. Or it could be a quote, request for quotation. We want the method and cost by which the seller would satisfy it. We need you to nail this down. How would you do it? What's the thing? What's the quote? Get it back to us, RFQ. Or an RFP, we don't know how to do it. What would be your approach? We want the plans for the solution. Here's a unique problem. Solve it. Here's the RFP. Bring it back to us. That's the framing up there. The statement of work, procurement statement of work, it defines the need and you got to make sure that it's detailed, that it's sufficient so that the seller can know if they can do the work. So we got to nail that down. Be very particular. What are the specs that we require? What quantities do we require? What quality levels are maintained or must be maintained? Can they do it on site? Do they have to do it on site here? Whatever, made in America. I don't know. Sender and receipts. How does that work? And then what's the escalation process? Must be nailed down. When there's a problem, how is it handled? That's what we're talking about here. Got to be clear, complete, concise. Statement of work's got to be those three things. You'll see in the case story, the lawyer that John works with talks about clear, complete, and concise. Boom. Got to be nailing these things down because they're out there and bidding. Ambiguousness leads to bad bids, bad deals. We have problems. We don't want that.